Good day, everyone. This is Engineer Melissa, your instructor in Mechanics 104. So on this video, I will be discussing the next chapter, which is the simple strain. Okay? So for our outline, we have 5 major topics here. But on this video, ang itatake lang natin is the first 2 parts, which is the stress and strain diagram and then yung ating Hooke's law. So actually, tapos na tayo for section A. So this video is intended for section B and section C. Okay? So for this one, our main concern in chapter 2 is yung ating deformation. Or whenever a force is applied to a body, it will tend to change the body's shape and size. So dun sa chapter 1, we are dealing with the internal force and then the stress na nangyayari sa isang material. Dito naman sa chapter 2, ano yung visible na nangyayari or ano yung nakikita natin na mangyayari sa isang material. Okay? Kasi yung stress that is in internal eh. So, basically, hindi natin siya nakikita. Pero dito, on chapter 2, ano yung visual na nakikita natin? Okay? Or ano yung makikita natin in actual if we have a force na in-apply sa body. So, basically, pag meron tayong force, pag meron tayong compression, or pag meron tayong tensile force, nagkakaroon ng changes in the shape or changes in size. So, ayan yung ating main concern for chapter 2. So, these changes are referred to as deformation, and they may be highly visible or practically unnoticeable. Okay? So, we have here a material. So, I assume here yung ating material is subjected with tensile force. Okay? So, meron tayo ditong basis na vertical line, horizontal, and a diagonal line. So, yung ating object na subject ng tensile force, ayan. So, yung ating vertical line, nagkaroon ng elongation, diba? Nagkaroon ng elongation. And then, in the horizontal line, nagkaroon ng shortening, no? Shortening. And then, for the diagonal line, mas naging steep yung kanyang slope. So, dito pa lang, on this simple illustration here, makikita natin that there is already changes in the size. Nag-elongate on the longitudinal axis and then on lateral, mas lumiit siya, no? Yan. Yan yung tinatawag natin na deformation. So, here, strain is defined as the amount of deformation experienced by the body in the direction of force applied divided by the initial dimensions of the body. So, strain, this is read as epsilon, okay? Epsilon or strain is equal to the total elongation divided by the original length. So, yan yung tinatawag natin na amount of deformation experienced by the body, okay? Or yung ating strain. And then, the strain, however, measures only the average value of strain. The correct expression for strain at any position is equal to the differential elongation divided by the differential length. So, in actual kasi hindi naman talaga uniform yung nagiging deformation of a certain body, no? So, it changes. Okay, let's take for example, meron tayo ditong simple material. Ayan. Nilagyan natin ng tensile force. So, hindi naman talaga siya mag-elongate na yung kanyang cross-section is constant, right? So, in actual, ang magiging deformation niyan is ganito. Magkakaroon nga ng elongation, pero yung kanyang cross-sectional area is not constant. Nagkakaroon din ng changes, no? So, for this one, the strain on this part is not equal to the strain at this portion, and it is not equal to the strain at this portion. That's why the true equation for strain is equal to the differential elongation divided by the differential length. However, the equation 2 determines the average strain in a length so small that the strain must be constant over that length. However, under certain conditions, the strain may be assumed constant and its value computed at equation 1. So, sabi ko nga kanina, yung ating mga deformation is very, very small. Okay, sometimes it is unnoticeable. So, yung ratio ng deformation with the ratio of the total length is masyadong malaki, no? So, dito, we can assume that the equation 2 is just equal to equation 1 as long as this condition is being checked or na-meet ng ating problem yung conditions na to. Okay? So number 1, the specimen must be of constant cross-section. The material must be homogeneous. Sabihin, it is made up of one material. Okay, made up of one material. So pag ginamit natin yung formula na to, make sure na this is a homogeneous material. Ibig sabihin, hindi po pwede na gamitan natin yung isang formula if we have a composite. Composite, example, meron tayo ditong aluminum. Tapos this one is made up of bronze and made up of steel. So hindi po pwede na iisang formula lang yung gagamitin mo dito. Okay, so later on, we will be having an example considering na meron tayong composite section or composite material. Okay, but for this one, if we have this equation, the material must be homogeneous. Okay, and then the load must be in axial, that is produce uniform stress. It is common to use units of meters per meter or inches per inch when referring to strain. Okay, so this one is the deformation divided by the length, right? So the unit for deformation is unit length also, let's say millimeter, and length is also in millimeter. So it is better if constant yung ating unit here, uniform, para mas ma-imagine natin kung gaano kalaki yung magiging deformation at a certain length. Okay? So hindi po pwedeng i-cancel to. Pag sinabi nating strain, we have a unit length, we have a unit that is length per length. Okay? So next is the stress and strain diagram. So this diagram is very essential para sa mga engineering students. This diagram, magagamit nyo na siya all throughout your design subject. No? So this stress and strain diagram, ito yung representation kung ano yung nangyayari sa isang material or ano yung pinagdadaanan ng isang material bago ba siya mag-fail. Okay. So it is being represented by what we call the stress and strain diagram. So this diagram here, meron tayong points that need to define, no? And then meron din tayo ditong regions na kailangan tayong maging familiar with. Okay. So on the x-axis, we have the strain. Okay. And then on the y-axis, nandito yung stress. So ganito palagi yung magiging orientation natin. On the x-axis, we have the strain. On the y-axis, we have the stress. Or we can also express this one as our deformation. And this one is our force P. Okay, so since nasa stress tayo, pwede natin sabihin na, okay, sigma. Bakit natin po pwedeng palitan ng deformation dito and then force P dito? Because of our equation that stress is equal to P all over A, and then the strain is equal to the deformation divided by the length. So dito we have a direct proportion, no? Directly proportion yung ating stress with the force and then yung strain natin with the deformation. Therefore, we can also express this one as the deformation and then force. Kasi para sa akin, mas madali ko siyang maintindihan. Kasi, for example, naglagay ako ng force P dito, naglagay ako ng force, ilan yung elongation. Okay, so ganun lang yan. Mas madali para kasi sa akin na intindihin pag force and deformation yung pinag-uusapan. Anyway, okay, so let's proceed now to the diagram. So in diagram natin, actually, it is being divided into two regions. So this one is the elastic region. And then after the elastic region, nandito na yung tinatawag natin na plastic region. Okay, so define natin kung ano yung nasa loob ng elastic region and then at the same time, ano yung nasa plastic region natin. Okay? So first point is yung proportional limit. So the proportional limit, ito yung point na yon. So the proportional limit, Robert Hooke postulated that stress is proportional to strain and it does not extend throughout the diagram. It ends at the proportional limit, and beyond this point, the stress is no longer proportional to the strain. The proportional limit is important because all subsequent theory involving the behavior of elastic bodies is based on stress-strain proportionality. Okay? So pag sinabi nating proportional limit, okay, there is a proportionality between the stress and the strain. Ibig sabihin, kung ano yung inilagay nating force, kung ano yung inangat ng force, ganun din yung ilalaki ng ating deformation. Okay? Proportionality. Ibig sabihin, meron tayong definite slope here. Okay? And then yung slope dito is known as what we call the modulus of elasticity. Okay? Modulus of elasticity. So that is the modulus of elasticity. So yan yung slope ng stress divided by the strain. Okay? And it is often denoted as E. Okay? So the modulus of elasticity is equal to the stress divided by the strain. Okay? So proportional limit. Okay? This is the highest point, or this is the point kung saan nag-end yung proportionality ng stress and the strain. So sabi dito, beyond this point, the stress is no longer proportional to the strain. The proportional limit is important because all subsequent theory involving the behavior of elastic bodies is based on stress and strain proportionality. Okay. Okay, next point is the elastic limit. The maximum value of stress in which the material will still remain elastic is called the elastic limit. When a material is stressed to a point below its elastic limit, it will return to its original length once the stress is removed. For stresses above the elastic limit, the material will not return to its original state, and some permanent deformation sets in, the state referred to as the permanent set. Okay, so elastic limit, ito po yun. Ayan. So, ibig sabihin ng elastic limit, if we applied a force that is equal to the elastic limit or below the elastic limit, pag in-apply natin sa isang material, and then tinanggal natin yung force na yon, it will return to its original length. Okay? Kunwari, meron tayong rubber band, or meron tayong rubber that is equal to, let's say that is equal to 50 millimeters. Ayan. So, yung elastic limit or the elastic limit ng force is equal to, let's say, 5 kilonewton. Mataas. Sige. 5 kilonewton. Okay. So, for this one, pag nilagyan ko ng 5 kilonewton yung ating rubber band, take note, nasa elastic limit tayo, ha? Bali, yung elastic limit is equal to 5 kilonewton. So, for this one, naglagay ako ng 5 kilonewton. Pag tinanggal ko yung 5 kilonewton, diba? Pag naglagay tayo ng 5 kilonewton, mag-elongate yan. Okay, let's say, mag-elongate siya ng 5 millimeters, so magiging 55 millimeters. So, pag tinanggal ko yung 5 kilonewton, pag tinanggal ko yung force, babalik pa rin siya sa kanyang original length, which is 50 millimeters. Kung ang force na nilagay mo is within the elastic limit. Now, pag ang force na nilagay mo is beyond that elastic limit, let's say, nagtaas tayo, let's say 5.5 kilonewton, naglagay ka ng force that is equal to 5.5 kilonewton. Again, this is already above the elastic limit, no? So, magkakaroon siya ng deformation. Ayan. Let's say, magiging 56 millimeter. Tinanggal ko yung force na 5.5 kilonewton. Hindi na po siya babalik into its original length na 50 millimeters. Kung babalik man siya sa kanyang, or kung tatanggalin natin yung force, maybe magiging, let's say, magiging 50.5 millimeters na yung length. From 56, magiging 50.5 millimeters. Kasi nagkaroon na yung tinatawag natin na permanent deformation. Kasi nga, yung force na nilagay mo is beyond now the elastic limit. Okay? And then, next to elastic limit is yung ating yield point. Okay? Yield point. So here, point at which there is an appreciable elongation or yielding of the material without any corresponding increase of load. Indeed, the load may actually decrease while the yielding occurs. Okay, so next to elastic limit is the yield point. Okay, balik tayo dun sa rubber band kanina. Naglagay tayo ng force that is beyond the elastic limit. Okay, balik tayo dun sa rubber band. Meron na siyang permanent deformation na kanina kasi ang force na ilagay natin is above the elastic limit. So, naging 50.5 kanina. 50.5 millimeter na. Now, dito sa yield point, let's say for example, mag-undergo ulit siya ng tensile force, maglalagay tayo ng 30 kilonewton. Okay, mas mababa na compared kanina, di ba? 30 kilonewton. So dito, hindi tayo nag-increase ng load. Pero yung deformation is now increasing. So pag kahit naglagay ka ng 30 kilonewton dyan, magkakaroon niya ng elongation. Let's say, for example, magiging 50.7 millimeters. Okay, so nagkaroon ng additional length. So sabi dito sa yield point, there is no increase in load, but there's already an appreciable elongation or yung deformation is continuous kahit hindi tayo magdadagdag ng force or mag-i-increase ng force. Yan yung yield point. So, proceed tayo dito sa diagram. Okay, kung mapapansin natin, dito sa elastic limit, ito yung force na ginamit natin. Okay, sorry. Let's say force 1. Okay, from this point, i-project natin yan, force 1. So, nasaan yung deformation niya? Okay, nandito. Deformation 1. Proceed tayo sa yield point on this point. Okay. Kung mapapansin natin, ayan, mas mababa yung force niya compared dun sa nauna. Diba? There's no increase. There's no increase in load. Pero, kung titingnan mo dun sa kanyang deformation, nag-i-increase. Okay? Kasi nag-yield yung ating material. Kahit hindi tayo magdagdag ng force, the deformation is continuous na. Kasi nag-exceed ka na sa tinatawag natin na elastic limit. Okay? So, nagkakaroon na ngayon ng continuous deformation. Okay. So, however, this is peculiar to steel. Other grades of steel and steel alloys or other materials do not possess it. Okay, so we have here a different material, yung stress and strain diagram of different materials na ginagamit natin sa site. Okay, dito tayo mag-focus sa mga concrete and steel kasi yan yung usual na nakikita natin sa site or ginagamit natin sa site. Okay, concrete. Ito, nandito tayo sa point na to. So, dito sa concrete or konkreto, i-project natin yung force na ginamit mo. Force, and then yung kanyang deformation. And then dito sa steel, this is the force, tawagin nating P2, and then yung kanyang deformation na, ayan. So, makikita natin yung malaking difference ng concrete and steel. So, si concrete, kahit maliit pa lang yung force na nilagay mo, napakalaki na nung deformation. Unlike dun si steel natin, kahit napakalaking load yung ilalagay mo sa steel or sa bakal, yung deformation is still minimal. That's why it is recommended na ang gamitin natin sa site are steel. Okay? It is recommended compared dun sa concrete. Kasi nga, yung ating steel, it can withstand high load and then yung deformation is still minimal. Unlike dun sa concrete. Okay, kung may hindi pa nakakita sa inyo ng mga column or beam na ginagamit sa site that is made up of steel, usually, ang shape nun is I, di ba? I shape. Usually, ito yung ginagamit sa mga large construction project. Ayan, ito yung ginagamit na beams or for columns because of this property na kahit lagyan mo ng malaking load, the deformation is still minimal. Pero bakit palagi nating nakikita is yung concrete? Kasi in terms of cost, no? In terms of cost, napakamahal kasi ng bakal or mas mahal yung bakal compared sa konkreto. Ay, kaya hindi pa masyadong ginagamit or hindi usual na nakikita sa site yung paggamit ng steel because of its price. But in terms of its mechanical properties, steel are better than the concrete. No? And of course, yung kanyang constructability, mas mabilis yung pag-install natin ng mga bakal compared sa konkreto. Sa konkreto kasi maghihintay pa tayo ng 28 days or yung tinatawag natin na curing period bago natin siya loadan or bago natin siya, let's say, gamitin. Maghihintay ka pa ng tinatawag natin na curing period. Sa high carbon steel, aside from mabilis siyang i-weld or mabilis siyang i-bolt, i-connect with each other, the constructability is, yan yung isa sa pinaka-advantage, no? Aside from dun sa mechanical properties. Pero ayun nga, mahal kasi yung cost of the steel. Okay, compared sa concrete. And then, we have also here yung cast iron and aluminum. Yan. So, yan yung usual na nangyayari sa mga material natin on site. O ito yung basis nila kung bakit concrete yung gagamitin ko, kung bakit aluminum, or bakit steel? Because of the stress and strain diagram of these materials. Okay? So let's proceed to the next point, which is the ultimate stress or the ultimate strength. So this is the highest point of the stress and strain curve, or ito yung pinaka-maximum force or pinaka-maximum stress na kayang i-withstand ng isang material bago pa siya mag-fail. Okay, this is the highest ordinate. So kung natatandaan ninyo dun sa first chapter natin, the idea of the safety factor, diba? The safety factor is equal to the ultimate strength divided by the allowable strength. Diba? Sabi ko in the first chapter, hindi natin pinapayagan na yung mga material natin is maloadan on its pinaka-maximum na stress. Kasi any additional stress or any additional load will now tend to fail yung material natin. Diba? That's why ang pinapayagan lang natin na po pwedeng i-load sa isang material is the allowable strength. Because of this diagram. So, pag nagdagdag ka pa ng force dito, matik, mag-feel na yan. Kasi from the word ultimate, meaning maximum, ito na yung pinaka-maximum na kayang buhatin ng isang material. Okay? And then, next to it is the necking region. So, in the necking region, the material reduces in cross-sectional area, concentrating stress in a localized area. This eventually leads to fracture or failure. Okay, so the necking region is dito sa part na to. Just after the ultimate tensile strength. So for this one, nagkakaroon tinatawag natin na necking. Ano ba yung necking? Okay, kunwari meron tayo ditong bar. Tapos nilagyan natin ng load. So automatic mag-elongate yan, di ba? Okay. So nagkakaroon ng changes in cross-sectional area. Kunwari ganyan yung magiging kasi nag-elongate, di ba? Sabi ko kanina, yung in actual, hindi naman talaga magiging constant yung cross-section of our material if we apply a certain load, di ba? So, yung necking na tinatawag is ito yon. Ayan. There is a reduce in the cross-sectional area. And, nagko-concentrate dito sa point na to yung stress. Okay? So, pag nagdagdag pa tayo ng force, anong mangyayari dito sa part na to? Dito na mismo mag-break yung ating material. Necking. Okay, necking. There is a decrease in the cross-sectional area. And then, it will suddenly create yung tinatawag natin na fracture or failure. Okay? And then, next is the fracture point. So, the fracture point, this is the final stage of material failure, where the material completely breaks or ruptures. Occurs after necking in ductile materials or immediately after ultimate strength in brittle materials. Okay, so for this one, pag sinabi natin ductile material, ito yung mga bakal, no? Pag brittle material, ito yung mga konkreto. So yung fracture point natin, it happens after the ultimate strength or after the necking. Pag bakal yung meron tayo, mag-undergo pa siya ng ganito, di ba? Necking. Or yung magdi-decrease muna yung kanyang cross-section bago siya mag-fail. Pero pag nasa concrete kasi tayo, pag brittle siya, kunwari yung column mo, 50 kN yan, di ba? Tapos niloadan mo ng 50 kN din. So pag nagdagdag ka ng load dyan, matik, it is above the ultimate strength na, right? Or beyond the ultimate strength. Mag-feel na yan. Hindi na yan mag-undergo ng necking na tinatawag. Failure na agad. Okay? So, ayan. Ayan yung different stages of the material, okay, or yung different stages na na-experience ng isang material natin pag meron siyang load. Okay, so, again, just a review, this one is the proportionality. Okay, there's a proportionality of the stress and strain. So, yung a maximum point here is the proportional limit. Next to it is the elastic limit. Ibig sabihin sa elastic limit, if we apply the force here that is equal to the elastic limit or below the elastic limit, balik pa rin siya sa kanyang original length. Pero, if yung force na nilagay natin is beyond the elastic limit, hindi na po siya babalik into its original state. And pag tinanggal natin yung force na yon, magkakaroon na ng tinatawag natin na permanent deformation. And then, dito sa yield point, okay, so dun sa material, hindi na po tayo magdadagdag ng additional load, pero yung kanyang deformation is continuous na. Okay, continuous already. And then after the yield point, we have now the ultimate strength. So dito sa ultimate strength, this is the highest ordinate or the maximum force na kayang kargahin or i-withstand ng ating material. And then after the ultimate strength, nandito yung necking region or the fracture point. The necking region, ito yung kapag nasa ductile materials tayo, there is a decrease in cross-sectional area bago siya mag-fail. Pero pag nasa brittle material tayo, this one, pag nag-increase ka pa ng force, matik, masisira na yan. Okay? So that is what we call the stress and strain diagram. So please be familiarized with this stress and strain diagram. Kasi this is very helpful in designing the materials na best for our projects later on. Okay? So, yeah. Okay, let's proceed to the example of the stress and strain diagram. Okay, or the application of the stress and strain diagram first before going to the Hooke's law. So, during the ASTM A370 or the tensile test for steel, the following data were recorded. The diameter of the bar is 10 mm and then the length is 75 mm. Plot the stress and strain diagram and determine the following mechanical properties: the proportional limit, the modulus of elasticity, yield point, ultimate strength, and the rupture strength. Okay? So for this one, mechanical properties pala ang tawag dito na dun sa mga points kanina na na-introduce sa stress and strain diagram. Those are the mechanical properties of the materials. Okay. So the test for steel is what we called as the ASTM A370. So dito, meron tayong certain length of a bar or a steel bar, tapos lalagyan natin ng load. Titignan natin kung ilan yung capacity or magkano yung kayang buhatin ng ating steel. Yan yung tinatawag natin na tensile test for steel para makita natin yung kanyang capacity. ASTM A370. Anyway, you will be encountering this one later on during your third year. Okay. So, yung ating bar daw with a length of 75 mm, nung wala pang load, matik, walang elongation. Tama? Walang load eh. So, hindi magkakaroon ng deformation. Pero nung nilagyan daw natin ng 6,365 Newton na load, nagkaroon ng elongation that is equal to 0.09. Okay, and then so on. And then, nung nilagyan daw natin ng 61,555 Newton na force yung ating bar, dito na nag-fail or nagkaroon ng fracture yung ating bar. So now, pinapahanap ng problem yung mga mechanical properties. So yung mechanical properties na to malalaman lang natin if we plot the stress and strain diagram. Okay? So for this one, for the stress, this is equal to force or the load divided by the area. And then yung strain natin is equal to the deformation divided by the length. Okay? So dun sa load 1, we have, of course, yung force natin is 0. Ano yung area? Area natin is pi all over 4. The diameter is 10 squared. Okay, so this is equal to 0, of course. For the strain 1, deformation is 0. Length is 75 mm. So this is also equal to 0. Yan. Pag nag-proceed ka naman dun sa force 2, okay, force 2. So we have 6,365 Newton. Ano yung area? We have pi all over 4, 10 squared. So this is equal to, okay, kung magkano man yan. And then, dun sa strain number 2, the deformation is 0.09. What is the original length? 75. So it's equal to. Ayan. So ganyan lang. And then proceed ka ulit sa stress 3, strain 3, and hanggang matapos mo dito sa point na to. Okay? So, nasolve ko na kanina to. So, solve it on your own also. So, ito yung magiging sagot for the stress and strain. Okay? It is also based dito binis ko din dito sa computation na to. And then, tuloy-tuloy nyo lang hanggang matapos dun sa last course. Ayan. So, based on the stress and strain na na-compute natin, we can now draw the diagram. So again, on the x-axis, nandito po yung strain. And then on the y-axis, nandito po yung stress. Okay? And also, na-plot ko na kanina yung ating diagram. So this is now the diagram. The strain and then the stress. So 81.04, 81.04, and then we have 0.0012, 161, 001, and so on. Okay. So, based on this diagram, ready na tayo to determine yung mga hinahanap ng problem natin. Okay, so for letter A, determine the, ano yung pinapahanap? Determine the proportional limit. Proportional limit. So, sabi natin kanina, proportional limit, dito nag-end yung straight line, diba? Yung straight line or yung proportionality ng stress with the strain. So, based on this figure, we have 483.27 megapascal. Take note, pag mechanical properties yung hinahanap, we are on the stress. Okay, stress po yung ilalagay ninyo. Okay. And then next, for letter B, the modulus of elasticity or yung E natin. So for modulus of elasticity, again, it is the proportion or the ratio of the stress divided by the strain. Okay, so sabi ko nga kanina, dito natin makikita. Ayan, yan yung slope, di ba? So, ito yung tinatawag natin na modulus of elasticity. So, dito ko ngayon magre-refer dun sa highest point niya, which is the 483.27. 483.27 divided by the respective strain. So, 483.27 and then 0.00187. 0.00187. So, that is equal to, actually, nandito na. Ayan. 258,859. So, ito yung magiging modulus of elasticity natin. 258,859. Okay? 258,859.07. 072 megapascal. Okay. So, just a correction from section A, no? And I think section C. Okay, so hindi ko kasi kinompute yung modulus of elasticity of this one before. But upon the computation kanina, there's a decrease, decrease. There's a decrease in the modulus of elasticity. So, hindi natin po pwedeng gamitin yung elastic limit. Ayan. Ang ginamit kasi natin is the point of the elastic limit, which is the 511.26 divided by 0.0324. That yields to 157. Now, kung makikita natin, there is now a decrease in the slope, di ba? There is a decrease in the relationship of the stress and strain. And sabi natin kanina, modulus of elasticity, that is the ratio or that is the slope of the stress with the strain. So dito, makikita natin na dito nag-i-stop yung proportionality. Nag-i-increase Nag-i-increase. Tapos, dito sa point na ito, nagkaroon na ng decrease. So, ibig sabihin, wala ng proportionality dito dun sa may elastic limit. Okay. So, ang i-consider mo in getting the modulus of elasticity is the proportional limit. Kung nasaan yung proportionality of the stress and strain. Okay. So, take note of that for section A and section C. Okay. And then for letter C, we have the yield point. So, yield point. Okay. So, yung yield point natin, it is a point after the elastic limit. So, this is the proportional, that's elastic, and then yield point. So, we have 530.37 megapascal. And then, for letter D, the ultimate strength. Ultimate strength, that is the highest ordinate. Okay. So, the ultimate strength is 866.68 megapascal. Okay? Yan, highest ordinate. And then for letter E, the fracture or the rupture strength, fracture strength or failure, pare-parehas lang yan. So that is equal to 783.74 megapascal. Okay? So yan yung sagot natin for number 1. Okay, next, let's proceed to number 2. Ay, wait, discuss muna natin pala yung Hooke's Law. Okay, let's proceed to the next topic, which is the Hooke's Law. the axial and shearing deformation. So yung mga objects natin, they undergo two types of deformation. Okay? Depende dun sa force na naka-apply sa kanila. Yung first one is yung axial deformation. So pag axial deformation, matik ang force na nakalagay dito is axial forces. It's maybe either compression or tension. So pag compression or tension, nagkakaroon ng change in length. Okay? Pag axial deformation, pag axial force yung nailagay, there's a change in length. So here, we will be utilizing yung tinatawag natin na Hooke's law. So the Hooke's law, actually, it is just the relationship of the stress with the modulus of elasticity. Okay? So this is yung formula kanina na introduced. The modulus of elasticity is equal to stress divided by the strain. But if we are talking about Hooke's law, it is just equal to the stress is equal to the modulus of elasticity divided by the strain. So, ito na yung tinatawag natin na Hooke's law by Robert Hooke. The proportionality of the stress with the strain. Okay. Actually, I'm using some mnemonics para mas maintindihan na, mas papadali yung memorization natin of formulas. Okay, so this one is nakaka-stress ang exam everyday. Ayan. So, that is the mnemonics. Pag Hooke's law, nakaka-stress ang exam everyday. Ayan. Next. So, meron tayong formula for axial deformation. So, this is equal to PL all over AE, or force applied multiplied by the original length of the material divided by the area times the modulus of elasticity. So, that is now the total deformation if we have an axial force in the object. Okay, so, kunwari, this is our object, P, with the force P. So, paano ma-determine yung elongation nito or the deformation? So, we just apply yung formula natin na load. What is the original length? What is the original cross-sectional area? And ano yung modulus of elasticity ng object na yan? Actually, the modulus of elasticity, this is a property of a material. So, every material meron yung specific value of modulus of elasticity. So, yung modulus of elasticity na yan, it is a theory by Thomas Young. So, yung modulus of elasticity, it shows the proportion of stress with the strain. And aside from that, it also measures the material's stiffness. Okay? Or yung tinatawag natin na resistance to deformation when subjected to stress. Okay? Material's resistance to deformation when subjected to stress is defined as the modulus of elasticity. If I'm not mistaken, pag nasa steel tayo, the value of the modulus of elasticity is ranging from 200,000 megapascal pag nasa steel. Pag nasa concrete, I think 20 to 40,000 megapascal, no? Ayan. Anyway, mamimit nyo yung mga values na to pag nasa higher level na kayo or higher years. Okay? Kung ano yung mga distinct value of modulus of elasticity depende dun sa material. Okay? So, paano nangyari yung formula na PL all over AE? Okay, according to section A, the deformation is fish fillet daw yan. Another mnemonics, fish fillet. Okay, anyway, sige. So, paano nangyari yung formula na to? We have here the two important formula. Stress is equal to PL over A, and then the strain is equal to the deformation divided by the length. Okay, so we want to get the value of, or the equation for the deformation. So, according to Hooke's law, the modulus of elasticity, ayan pala. According to the Hooke's law, the stress is equal to the modulus of elasticity multiplied by the strain. Okay, so ano yung stress natin? We have PL over A. What is strain? We have the deformation divided by the length. So, arranging yung ating equation, therefore, the deformation is equal to PL all over AE. Ayan. So, dito nang galing yung ating formula for deformation. Fish fillet. PL all over AE. From these three equations here. Okay? Or from the Hooke's law. So, note, in using this formula, the load must be axial or tension or compression lang yung force natin. The bar must have a constant cross-section and must be homogeneous, and the stress must not exceed the proportional limit. Okay, so yung stress na gagamitin natin dito must be just within the proportional limit. Kasi yung Hooke's law na to, this is only intended within the proportional limit. Okay, so hanggang dito lang dapat yung force na gagamitin natin. Ayan, hanggang dito lang. At this point only, dun sa may proportional limit. Hindi na po pwede siyang mag-exceed. Kasi ito yung, again, nandito yung Hooke's law. Okay? Next, another type of deformation is the shearing deformation. Kung sa actual deformation, we have change in length. Dito sa shearing deformation, we have change in shape. Okay, so this is the original shape. We have a rectangle here, rectangle. Nag-apply tayo ng shear force. Again, pag meron tayong shear force, a force that will cause sliding, di ba? Sliding to an object. So, yung dating rectangle naging, let's say, nagkaroon ng change in slope or naging parallelogram. Ayan. So, the deformation here is the change in shape. So, if we will apply the Hooke's law here in shear, gagamitan lang natin ng same idea, pero instead na epsilon yung gagamitin natin, ayan, di ba ito yung formula natin kanina, epsilon is equal to the deformation divided by length. Pag nasa axial tayo, pag nasa shear naman tayo, we will be using upsilon. Okay, upsilon. This is epsilon, this is upsilon. Upsilon is equal to the shearing deformation divided by the length. Or, based on this one, this is the change in the stiffness or change in the slope. Okay, that is actually yan is that is equal to tangent epsilon is equal to opposite the shearing deformation divided by the length. Pero we can assume that it is equal to y deformation shear divided by the length. Pwede natin gamitin to kasi yung change in the slope here are just minimal. Okay, maliliit lang yan na pwede mong I assume that the tangent epsilon is just equal to the epsilon because of the minimal change in the slope. Okay? So here, paano naman natin i-apply yung Hooke's law? So kanina, dun sa axial deformation, we have the axial stress is equal to modulus of elasticity divided by the epsilon or multiplied by the epsilon. Dito, magkakaroon tayo ng ang tawag dito, parang same equation, pero para ma-distinguish natin na nasa shearing deformation tayo, gagamit tayo ng ibang value or ibang symbol. Okay, so here, since nasa shear tayo, gagamit tayo ng shearing stress or yung tau. Tapos yung equivalent na value ng modulus of elasticity is yung tinatawag natin na modulus of rigidity. Modulus of rigidity, and then epsilon. Okay, so meron tayong equivalent values. So kanina yung modulus of elasticity, that is the material's resistance to deformation. Yung modulus of rigidity naman, this is the material's resistance to shear deformation when subjected to shear stress, or this is the material's resistance in changes in shape, no? Kasi dun sa modulus of elasticity kanina is the material's resistance in the deformation or the change in length. So dito naman sa modulus of rigidity, the change in shape. Okay? So for our formula in the deformation due to shear, same pa din nung kanina, di ba, dun sa axial deformation, we have PL all over AE. Meron din tayong equivalent formula for shear deformation. So, kanina, gumamit tayo ng P dito, gamit tayo ng V. But take notice, ang value lang yan, yung P and yung V na yan. And then, length. Ayan, kung titignan nyo itong ating shape here or yung ating illustration here, ito po yung length niya. And then, we have the area for shear. Of course, the shearing area, we will be considering the parallel, okay, area that is parallel to the force. And then, of course, the modulus of rigidity. So, kanina, meron tayong specific value for E. Ganito rin dito sa modulus of rigidity. We will have specific values depende dun sa material na gagamitin natin. Okay? So the formula here is same dun sa actual deformation. Kailangan nyo lang maging familiar kung anong magiging equivalent or equivalent values later on pag pumunta na kayo dun sa shearing deformation. Kasi for me, I better memorize yung actual deformation and then be familiar na lang kung anong magiging equivalent value pag pumunta ako sa shearing para mabawas-bawasan yung ating i-memorize na formula. Anyway, galing lang naman lahat yan sa Hooke's Law. So, importante lang na maintindihan mo kung ano yung mga equivalent values later on if nagpunta ka sa shearing deformation. Okay? And then next, we have the stiffness. Stiffness is the ratio of the steady force acting on an elastic body to the resulting displacement. It has the unit of Newton per millimeter and it is usually denoted as K, or the stiffness is equal to force applied or the applied load divided by the deformation. So, how resistant an elastic body to the deformation? Okay, pag meron tayong force na na-apply sa kanya, stiffness. Or in other words, dinidescribe nito yung isang structure on how it will resist to bending, stretching, or even compression. So, the higher the value of the stiffness, ibig sabihin, mas firm or mas stiff yung ating material. The less structure will deform under the amount of force. The greater the stiffness, the lesser the structure will deform. Ayan lang yung ibig sabihin ng stiffness. So, stiffness is equal to P divided by the deformation. Yan. So, those are the important formulas na kailangan yung i-familiarize. Again, i-familiarize, hindi i-memorize. I-familiarize. Familiarization lang ang kailangan natin dito. Lesser lang yung memorization. Kasi pag naintindihan mo yung concept nito, mas madaling balikan yung mga formulas. Concept first before memorizing those formulas. Okay? So, let's proceed now to examples 2 to 5. So, yung examples 2 to 5 natin are now the application of the deformation. Okay? Okay, for number 1, a steel rod having a cross-sectional area of 300 square millimeter and a length of 150 meters is suspended vertically from one end. It supports a tensile load of 20 kilonewton at the lower end. If the unit mass of steel is 7,850 kg per cubic meter and the modulus of elasticity is 200 times 10 raised to 3 meganewton per square meter, find the total elongation of the rod. Okay? So, meron daw tayong rod that is suspended vertically. Okay, suspended vertically. And yung rod na to, it has an area that is equal to 300 square millimeter and a length of 150 meters. So, 150 meters. This is a large structure, no? 150 meters. And then, it supports a tensile load at the lower end that is equal to 100 or that is equal to 20 kilonewton. So we have here force is equal to 20 kilonewton. If the unit mass of steel is 7,850 kg per cubic meter, so yung unit mass of steel na yan, that is what we call the density kasi naka-kilogram per cubic meter. So we have 7,850 kg per cubic meter. And the modulus of elasticity that is equal to 200 times 10 raised to 3 mega, this is mega pascal. Okay, mega pascal. Find the total elongation of the rod. Okay, what will be the total elongation? So, based on the structure here, it is vertically suspended. Pag vertically suspended yung isang material, dalawa yung nagkakos ng elongation dyan. Number 1 is yung external force. Okay, so yung total elongation natin, it is due to the external force, tawagin nating deformation 1. And then, meron pang isa. Since nakasuspend siya vertically, due to its own weight and due to the gravity, magkakaroon ng elongation kahit walang 20 kilonewton because of the gravity. It is suspended vertically. Okay? So, tawagin natin yung deformation na yan due to its own weight or due to the gravity is the deformation 2. Okay? So sa deformation 1, this is due to the load. So we can apply PL all over AE, on which P is equal to 20 kilonewton. So it is better to make it in Newton and millimeter lahat ng ating values here. So 20 times 10 raised to 3 Newton. What is the length? We have 150 meters or 150,000 millimeter. What is the area? 300 square millimeter. And then, what is the value of the modulus of elasticity? We have 200 times 10 raised to 3 megapascal or Newton per square millimeter. Okay, so this deformation is equal to this is equal to 50 millimeter. Equal to 50 millimeter. Next, the deformation 2 or due to its own weight. So, pwede pa rin naman natin gamitan ng formula na PL all over AE, pero meron tayong formula based on the internet na hindi PL all over AE. Okay, po pwede nyo gamitin yon, pero ako, mas gusto kong gamitin yung PL all over AE para mas konti na lang yung ating i-memorize, di ba? Anyway, yung formula na yon is galing din naman dun sa idea ng PL all over AE. Hindi ko na siya i-introduce. Pero kung gusto nyong tignan kung ano yung formula na yon, you may search the internet. Okay, so this one, kailangan natin ng force. So yung force na yan yung self-weight. Tama? Okay, nagbigay siya ng density, unit mass of steel, which is 780 50 kilogram per meter. Ano ba yung unit natin ng P? That is Newton, di ba? Newton. So, gawin natin Newton to. Paano? Multiply mo ng 9.81 meter per second squared. So, meron ka ng Newton yan, kilogram meter per second squared. Meron kang Newton. Kaso, meron ka pang unit na cubic meter. So, ano ba yung cubic meter? Ano ba? Saan ba galing yung density? That is mass all over volume. Based on this one, mass, volume. So, dapat, i-multiply mo lang yung volume of this structure para makuha mo yung total weight niya. Diba? Okay, so ano yung volume natin? We have the area multiplied by the length, diba? Para makuha mo yung volume. So, the area, what is the area? We have, naka-cubic meter siya, oh. Sige, gawin natin cubic meter din. So, 300 millimeter squared. Okay, gawin natin meter yan. So, 1,000 millimeter in 1 meter squared. Okay. And then, yung kanyang length. Ano yung length natin? 150 meters. Okay. So, cancel out na lahat yung cubic meter. So, this is meter squared na yan, no? Meter squared, tapos ito meter. Kaya, meron tayong meter cube. Cancel mo na yan. Therefore, the self-weight, the force due to the self-weight is equal to 7,850 times 9.81. That's 300 divided by 1,000 squared times 150. So we have 3465.383. Okay, 383 Newton. Okay, meron ka ng force. So substitute mo dito. Therefore, we have 3465.383 Newton. What is the length? Okay, take note ang pag self-weight, saan siya nag-a-act? Dun mismo sa may centroid. Okay, nandyan po yung self-weight. Pag self-weight, nasa centroid. Therefore, ang length na gagamitin mo is just the half, which is 75 meters or 75,000 millimeter. Okay? Area is still 300. Modulus of elasticity is 200 times 10 raised to 3. Therefore, it is equal to it is equal to 4.33. 4.332 millimeter. Ay, bakit naka-millimeter square dyan? Millimeter lang. Okay? Therefore, the total deformation is equal to 50 plus 4.332. So, that is equal to 54.332 millimeter. Okay? So, this is now the total deformation.